Swim Fam is a psychological thriller film released in 2002. The story begins with the introduction of Ben Cronin, a swimmer and the star athlete of his high school. He has been consistently performing well in competitions, and as a result, has attracted the attention of college scouts who are interested in recruiting him for their swim teams. However, with the competition just a week away, his coach has put immense pressure on him to deliver a standout performance, adding to the stress that Ben is already experiencing. Besides his rigorous swimming schedule, Ben also has a part-time job at a local hospital. Although the job can be taxing, he manages to balance it well with his school and training commitments. He also has a loving girlfriend, Amy, who is supportive of his dreams and ambitions. However, with their college plans up in the air and the uncertainty of whether they will end up in the same institution, there is a growing sense of unease between the two. One day, while at school, Ben comes across a new girl, Madison Bell. He notices her struggling with her locker and offers to help her. Using her hairpin, Ben manages to pick the lock, much to Madison's relief. Grateful for his assistance, Madison tells him to keep the hairpin, just in case she needs his help again. During a conversation with his friend Josh, Ben learns that Josh has a crush on Madison. However, Josh has been known to bully Madison's cousin Christopher Dante, who is currently hosting her. One day, while driving, Ben almost hits Madison by accident. He takes her home, but Madison leaves her notebook of music in his car. She then invites him over to her house to return it. During their lunch together, Ben reveals to Madison that he has had a troubled past with drugs and theft but has since turned his life around. Madison, in turn, confides that playing the cello helps her escape from her problems. As they talk, Madison flirts with Ben, but he reminds her that he has a girlfriend, which she respects. Despite this, Madison expresses her desire to continue hanging out with Ben. One day, they go to a local pool, where Ben encourages Madison to come into the water. However, she reveals that she can't swim and asks him to teach her. As they spend more time in the water, their physical attraction to each other intensifies. Eventually, Madison persuades Ben to do the nasty with her. Initially, Ben hesitates, but he ultimately gives in to Madison's advances. She asks him to say that he loves her, even if he doesn't mean it, and he obliges. The two agree to keep their encounter a secret from everyone else, including Ben's girlfriend, Amy. However, as time passes, Ben begins to feel guilty about his actions. His swimming performance starts to suffer, and he begins to receive criticism from his coach and Josh. This only adds to his guilt and makes it difficult for him to concentrate on anything other than his illicit affair with Madison. At a party later that night, Amy introduces Ben to Madison as a friend, and the two try to act as if nothing has happened between them. However, things take a turn for the worse when Amy goes to Ben's car, and Madison tells him that she left her panties in the truck. Panicking, Ben rushes to his car to stop Amy from discovering the incriminating evidence. Despite his growing guilt and complicated feelings for Madison, Ben tries his best to avoid her after their illicit encounter. Madison, however, is not willing to let him go so easily. She pages him and even creates a screen name on mine, SwimFan85, in an attempt to talk to him. Ben tries to ignore her advances, but Madison takes matters into her own hands by showing up at his house with flowers for his mother. Ben, frustrated with Madison's persistence, tells her to back off. Madison becomes upset and accuses him of wanting to pretend that nothing ever happened between them. The situation only gets worse when Madison sends naked pictures of herself to Ben, risking getting caught by his girlfriend Amy. At swim practice, Ben discovers that Madison is now dating Josh, which he assumes means that she is off his back. However, Madison corners him in the locker room and demands to know why he hasn't been returning her calls. Fed up with the situation, Ben finally tells her that he wants her to leave him alone. But Madison refuses to let him go. She brings up the fact that Ben told her he loved her, leaving him flustered and at a loss for words. Ben tries to explain that he only said it because she asked him to, but Madison is not convinced. Their relationship becomes increasingly tense and complicated as they struggle to navigate their feelings for each other while trying to keep their secrets hidden from others. Ben's world comes crashing down when he makes a grave mistake at work. In a fit of anger and frustration, he gives the wrong medication to his favorite patient, putting the patient's life in danger. The patient fortunately survives, but Ben is immediately fired from his job. The weight of his mistake weighs heavily on him, making him feel like a failure. Feeling angry and hopeless, Ben decides to confront Madison at school. He interrupts her cello performance, snatching the instrument from her hands and throwing it to the ground. He demands that she leave him alone once and for all. Surprisingly, Madison agrees to leave him be. Finally ready to come clean to Amy, then arranges to meet her to talk about what happened. However, Amy is busy with work, and they agree to talk the next day. The anticipation of telling the truth eats away at Ben all night long.
The next day at school, Ben is met with stares and whispers. Everyone seems to know about his one-night stand with Madison. The news eventually reaches Amy, who confronts Ben in front of everyone. She slaps him across the face and storms off in tears, leaving Ben to face the harsh consequences of his actions alone. As he reflects on the mess he has made, Ben realizes that his impulsive decision to give in to Madison's advances has cost him everything he held dear. The day of the swim meet arrives and Ben is feeling nervous but confident. However, his world comes crashing down when he is disqualified from the race after his urine tests come back positive for steroids. Ben is shocked and devastated as he knows he didn't take any performance-enhancing drugs. He confronts Josh, thinking that he has something to do with this, but Josh denies any involvement. Unfortunately for Ben, his past drug problems make it difficult for anyone to believe him, including his mother and Amy. He feels betrayed by everyone and is unable to convince anyone of his innocence. Later, Josh and Madison are alone in a car and are kissing, when Madison starts calling out Ben's name. Josh gets angry and yells at her for ruining Ben's life. Madison is upset and tells Josh that she loves Ben, which only makes him angry. He tells Madison that Ben was his friend and that he can't believe she did this to him. After being falsely accused of doping, Ben is in a terrible state of mind. He goes to the school locker room to get changed and finds a baseball bat in his locker. Confused, he sets it aside and heads to the pool for his swim. However, as he dives in, he bumps into something floating in the water. As he approaches it, he realizes with horror that it is Josh's lifeless body, and it appears that someone has beaten him to death with the bat found in Ben's locker. The police arrive on the scene, and their investigation reveals that Ben's fingerprints are on the bat. They inform him that he is not to leave town, and he is left in a state of shock and disbelief. Meanwhile, Ben begins to feel like someone is framing him and starts to investigate the case himself. With his world crumbling around him, Ben goes to Madison's house seeking solace. However, he finds Madison playing cello with her family and cannot bring himself to disturb the moment. But, as he looks around her room, he finds a bottle of steroids and a hospital volunteer coat, which only adds to his suspicions. Chris discovers Ben in Madison's room and warns him to leave immediately or Madison will hurt him. With Chris's assistance, Ben starts to investigate Madison's past and learns that she was obsessed with a local sports star named Jake Donnelly. Madison was involved in a car accident that almost took Jake's life, but Madison survived. Ben suspects that Madison might have been responsible for the accident. As the chaos continues to unfold, Madison takes things to a new level. She manages to make a copy of Ben's car key when she visits his house and dresses up as Ben, driving his car. In the midst of all this, Amy is riding her bike when Madison, driving Ben's truck, hits her, causing Amy to suffer serious injuries. The police are looking for Ben at the hospital, where Amy has been taken, while Madison disguises herself as a worker to get close to Amy and finish her off for good. While trying to complete her plan, Madison hears the name, Jake Donnelly, being called over the hospital intercom and believes she sees him in the hallway. Desperately following him to the parking garage, she discovers that it is Chris wearing Jake's jacket. In her fury, she attacks him with a scalpel, but Ben stops her and holds the blade to her throat. Madison admits to killing Josh and tells Ben that he doesn't dare to do the same. However, Ben's friend Renee has recorded the entire confession, and Madison is finally arrested. Ben tries to make amends with Amy after the chaos that Madison caused in his life. Amy forgives him, and Ben feels relieved. But his peace doesn't last long as he returns home to find that Madison has escaped from prison and attacked his mother. Ben's mother is unconscious, and Amy is missing. He frantically searches for Amy but to no avail. Suddenly, he receives a page from Madison, which reads, "Feel like a dip." Ben realizes that Madison is taunting him to meet her at the pool, the same place where Josh was killed. Ben rushes to the pool immediately, and when he reaches the scene, he finds Amy handcuffed to a chair and Madison standing over her with a bat in hand. Madison demands that Ben admits his love for her, but Ben is resolute and refuses to comply with her demands. In a fit of rage, Madison throws Amy into the pool and threatens to hurt her unless Ben admits his love. Without hesitation, Ben jumps into the water to save Amy. However, he finds himself unable to lift the chair that Amy is handcuffed to. Every time he comes up for air, Madison tries to hit him with the bat. Undeterred, Ben continues to try and rescue Amy. As he tries again, he finds Madison's hairpin in his pocket and uses it to pick the lock on the handcuffs and free Amy. Ben resurfaces with Amy in his arms, but Madison is still pursuing them with the bat. In a moment of desperation, Ben grabs the bat and pulls Madison into the pool with him. As they struggle in the water, Ben manages to swim out with Amy, leaving Madison floundering in the pool. Ben immediately starts performing CPR on Amy to get her breathing once again. Meanwhile, Madison, who cannot swim, is struggling to stay above water. At the end of the movie, Ben successfully resuscitates Amy, and as they breathe in peace,
they see Madison's body floating in the water. It's unclear whether she's dead or just unconscious, leaving the audience to ponder on her fate. This movie reminds me of Fatal Attraction with Glenn Close. What did you guys think?